Hey friends, Denmark is famous for having among the highest car taxes in the world. The same car that in Sweden or Germany, so neighboring countries, would cost you up to 40,000 euros, in Denmark could cost more than double. So that's like 80 to 90,000 euros for the same car. So at first glance, this seems totally crazy. But today I want to dig a little bit deeper and argue why, in the grand scheme of things, Denmark's car taxes actually make a lot of sense. So buckle up and hear me out. If you're new here, my name is Mario, and on this channel I help people in Denmark on financial independence. Number one reason for why these taxes could make sense is that they discourage driving. So Denmark has these taxes that again are a deliberate choice, a policy choice that is meant to discourage private vehicle ownership and usage of these vehicles, using of the cars. So again, with one of the highest taxes in the world, if not the highest, but maybe there's something worse, the Danish government is clearly setting a precedent of where, like, this is the way it's gonna be here. Again, by making cars incredibly expensive to buy and operate, again, the government in Denmark actively pushes people towards greener, more space-efficient forms of transportation like bicycles, buses, and trains. Again, in densely populated Danish cities, fewer cars on the road translate to less congestion, less air pollution, less noise pollution, and overall a higher quality of life. For instance, one of the statistics that is often shared is that in Copenhagen we have seen a 60% decrease in car traffic in downtown, again, since these car policies have identified. And again, Denmark is a country that prides itself on being a forerunner in terms of green and being carbon efficient. And again, pushing people not to have cars is one of those high ticket items to reduce emissions. One of the outcomes of this car situation in Denmark is that over the last decade, we have seen a 30% increase in the usage of public transportation and an explosion in the use of bicycles. Reason number two is about the money. So the revenue for infrastructure. This was shocking to me when I read it for the first time. The vehicle registration tax, this basically the tax of 150% plus VAT on at least almost all of the cars, accounts to 2% of Denmark's entire GDP per year. So that's more than 5 billion euros that the government in Denmark collects with this tax. And it's a huge amount of money that basically it's earmarked for maintaining and improving Denmark's transportation infrastructure. Again, to put it into perspective, this funding has facilitated the construction of over 200 kilometers of new cycling lanes, major rail upgrades, and a lot more things over just the last 5 years alone. So again, like when you look into Danish roads and bridges and bike lanes and bus lanes and rail systems, all benefit from this steady stream of car tax revenue. What it was told is that you should see it as a usage fee. So if you want to drive, you pay more to support the system as a whole that you're actually using, and ensuring that everyone, not only the ones who have cars, but everyone enjoys in Denmark of top tier infrastructure, regardless of what is their preferred mode of transport. Number three is that this tax encourages fuel efficiency. So again, in Denmark, the vehicle tax isn't just a flat rate, it's basically intrinsically linked to fuel consumption as well. So the less fuel efficient your car is, the higher the tax is. For instance, if you have a car that emits more than 200 grams of CO2 per kilometer, you can be taxed at rates that are actually more than the 150% of the value. And over time, this creates a big incentive for people to choose cars that have lower emissions and better mileage. This helps drive demand into electric vehicles in Denmark. For instance, like if you walk in Copenhagen or you go stroll around Copenhagen, you'll see a lot of Teslas, for instance. And one of the reasons is because they're, again, even though the Teslas are also taxed at these high rates, they're just taxed less in the big scheme of things than the fuel or the petrol cars. Reason number four for these taxes are to make the alternatives attractive. When cars are so expensive, other forms of transportation start to look much more appealing in comparison. A monthly pass on the trains or a high quality bicycle all of a sudden becomes literally a bargain comparing to the cost of buying and owning and fueling a car. And again, this price differential is one of the things that helps create a critical mass for these other methods of transportation to really thrive. You can't really give credit to this only, for example, for Denmark's cycling culture, but again, it's one of the things that really pushes you in this direction. I can speak for myself. I have been very happy that in Denmark I don't need a car because infrastructure for cycling is amazing. But sometimes I feel like, oh, now that I have kids, I would like to have a car. But again, it's just the cost is exorbitant versus just having a cargo bike to move the kids around. So all of a sudden, again, because of these incentives, I just don't get a car. Number five is Denmark's unique geography. And again, it's important to remember that Denmark is a small and densely populated country with a very particular geography. geography. Again, the distances between the major cities are, in their big scheme of things, relatively short, and again makes national train-wide travel very fast, easy, and cost-effective. And even within the big cities, most day-to-day destinations are basically reasonable to do with either public transportation or cycling. While this doesn't hold true for living in a small town in Denmark where you might need a car, again, if you live in the big cities, and that's where most people live, this is like kind of not really a big issue. So again, like while a car tax like this would be really disruptive in a place like this, like the US, where with a lot of sprawl and so on, in Denmark, because of the size of the country and because of the way the cities are laid out, it's basically like a car becomes more of a luxury than a necessity. Number 6 is the quality of life. So at the end of the day, Danish car taxes are really about prioritizing quality of life over convenience. And again, yes, it is less convenient to take the train or back to work than drive door to door. In some cases, you could argue. I sometimes think that cycling is more convenient. But again, the trade-off is that because of this setup, you live in a city with clean air, with safe streets, with a lot of green space, and a lively public setup. And you get to enjoy also the health benefits of, this active transportation, of cycling, and the social benefits of more interactions, casual interactions. And again, the fact that, for example, myself with my family, we spend basically zero on transportation costs a month, or even like say 100 krona with an old metro ticket. Basically, it's a big boon to your finances. And a society that we want to invest in sustainable and resilient transportation for the future and serve generations to come, this is really valuable. So the gist of this is that while these taxes can be annoying and can be discouraging in the short term, over the long term, it actually pays off for yourself and also for society. Wrapping up, look, it's not that Denmark's vehicle taxes are perfect and they don't come with downsides. I think there are a lot of valid criticisms that could be given here. Sometimes I wish myself I would be able to get a car without having to spend hundreds of thousands of krona, or actually a nice car than having to spend not even 1 million krona. I hope this video gives you a bit of nuance and perspective of why things are the way they are here in Denmark. And again, like how by embracing these car taxes, you actually align with Denmark's values and priorities as a country. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts on this are. So are you, in your opinion, these taxes worth the trade-off? Is it the wide better for society setup better than sometimes being able to get a luxury? Let me know in the video description. To know more about driving in Denmark and all the rules and regulations you do need to know to exchange your foreign license into a Danish license, check this video out over here. Thanks for watching.